Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. I am Kyle Anthony. Welcome to the podcast and welcome to the prediction show for UFC 234, Robert Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum. We're going to talk about some free plays, our best bet that is for purchase on Wagertalk. You can go down below, click the link. You can see the opportunities to make the purchase there. And we're going to talk about our overall feeling on this card. It is not one of the high-end cards that we are used to, but there definitely are some opportunities to make some money, play some bets. There is a value play or two that I do want to talk about as well, so definitely stick around for all of that. If you have not yet done so, subscribe and make sure that you like these videos just so I know what content that you guys are into. So definitely subscribe, like, that means a lot to me, keeps the channel growing. The more you guys do that, the more we grow and the more that we have great conversations in the comment section. And again, after every video, I'd like to continue the conversation down below with you guys. Been great. A lot of you guys hit some big plays last week. Had a great week, great card last week on my birthday. Hit the best bet play, which was Damian Maia at -160. The free play was the under on the main event between Sunsao and Rice. It was 4.5 rounds under, which was paying off at a price of +165. I love the under there. Obviously, that ended in the first round. Cash there. And then we also talked about Aldo at +108. Had Aldo too. So I had these guys individually bet, straight bet, parlayed two of them, parlayed all three of them. So it was really a great night, very profitable night. Had fun with everybody, but was a very profitable night when it comes down to the UFC. So let's get, oh, and the other thing too real quick is, yes, I have finally changed the name of this channel. I had been talking to you guys a lot about what am I going to name it. We've been talking about it, and a lot of you guys, really want to give input in, should we get away from the Mr. UFC Vegas Fight Club TV, because it's not as, when you take a look at the channel from a distance, you don't know what it's about. I wanted to be a little more generic as possible so people would be able to come in here, click, and they would be able to say, hey, I know what this is about. I want to get into UFC betting. I want some advice. This is the place to be. So Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show is the name of the channel moving forward. Nothing else is going to be changing. Everything else will be the same. Free plays, conversations, prediction show, bet review show. So definitely, again, subscribe and like. Really appreciate that. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is the free play. Now, the free play is on the main event between Robert Whittaker and Kelvin Gastelum. Now, this fight here is a great fight. Now, like I said before, this is not the highest end card. It's not a card that, besides for the top two, a little bit of a disappointment. But again, I watch them all, I watch every fight, and I enjoy all of them, and I always look for those opportunities to make some money, so that is what we're going to get into here. So with Robert Whittaker, he's 20-4. The price on him right now is -230, and then you've got Kelvin Gastelum, who is +203, and he's 13-5. Now, you take a look at these two guys, and it's really great when you go back and you really watch some footage of these two guys. Now, the first thing that you want to look at with Whittaker, the defending middleweight champion, is the fact that his last two fights were against Yoel Romero. Now, Romero is an elite fighter, elite wrestler, a freak of nature. When you see the specimen that he is just a monster in there. And for Whittaker to go out there and beat him twice. Now, he beat him the first time, close fight, but he got the unanimous decision. It was a great performance by Whittaker. And then they really pushed for that second fight. They really pushed. I think the UFC really pushed for it. Everyone was kind of saying we would love to see this fight again because it was such an entertaining fight on the first time. Now, the second fight was very interesting. Now, a lot of people take it different ways. Some people say, it was Whittaker. Some people say it was Romero. It was very close, that fifth round. Now, for me, when I was scoring it, I definitely had it 2-2 going into that fifth. And I thought Romero won. I thought he won 3-2, and that was it. I thought it was definitely going to be a new champion, and I thought there was going to be a third fight at some point, which is a little bit of an overkill when you do 3 in a row. It's better when it's a little more spread out. But he gets that victory, and it was a very, very, very close fight. And for him to come out and beat Romero twice, and prior to that, go out there and beat and knock out Jacare is 3 just monster feats. Because prior to him going out there and beating these guys, they were really looking at the next level. They were looking at these guys as easily going into the title picture. Easily one of these guys going to be a champion. So there was a lot to be said for Whittaker going in there and beating Romero twice and then beating Jacare. Now, the big thing with Whittaker is his weapons. Now, he definitely has more weapons when you take a look at him versus Gastelum. Now, his big shot is going to be his right body kick, and he's very good at hiding it. He's very good at just really disguising when he throws it, and it's a great shot to the body. It's also a great shot to the head. So he's very good at disguising those, and that's a way that he even uses the front kick to kind of push his opponent away a little bit. More distance management, but then he has a fantastic left hook. So when he uses those combinations, it's very difficult for his opponent to really manipulate the way he wants to come in and engage and exchange in those combinations. So he's able to really do that, and you've seen him do it over and over again. And the big part that for Whittaker is the fact of his takedown defense. Now, if you take a look, there are some amazing statistics when you take a look at Whittaker overall and on his stats. Now, the first thing is he has the highest striking rate among active middleweights, and that's 5 per minute. That is just, that says a lot about this guy. So it's, again, it's not just that he's got these accolades in the cage. Statistically across the board, he is phenomenal. Then he has the longest active winning streak in the middleweight with 8, which again is phenomenal. And we were just talking about the takedowns. He's the 3rd highest takedown defense in the division with 81%. So right there, I mean, that says a lot about this guy. Now, I have nothing, you can't really knock him. There's not many negatives in Whittaker's game. I mean, the big part was, even with Romero, was could he get him to the ground? Could he get him to the ground? Does he have the ability to really push forward? And he just consistently was able to stop that. But it also the power that Whittaker has. He definitely has the power to be able to move forward and engage, but yet not be scared to be taken down. So there's a lot of things that he does very well. And then you take a look at Gastelum. Now, Gastelum here, he is the smallest guy in the middleweight division. I mean, he's 5'9", and he's got the power, but he is definitely the smallest guy. And since entering the middleweight division, he is 5-1. Now, he lost to Chris Weidman, and actually, let's go through the last 3. He lost to Chris Weidman, which was a fight that these guys stood next to each other. I mean, it almost looked like it was a child and an adult fighting. I mean, Weidman is already big for the division, but fighting a guy who's small for the division, it almost didn't even look like they were supposed to be in the cage at the same time, because they just looked in completely different weight classes. But in that first round, Gastelum comes out there and he drops Weidman. Now, I thought that's a very interesting takeaway in this fight, because Weidman is a world-class wrestler. He was able to use that in this fight to get that win over Gastelum. But he went out there and he just kept pressuring. He just kept pushing. And Weidman did what Weidman does. Weidman went out there and he got the submission victory, looked to take it to the ground, looked to push it to the ground. And that's going to be something, obviously, with a guy with so much of a weight advantage, so much of a height advantage. Just that Weidman, it was a really bad stylistic matchup for Gastelum, in my opinion. So he did a good job there. I give Gastelum a lot of credit in that fight, but a very, very bad stylistic matchup for him. And then he went up against Michael Bisping. And this fight against Bisping was coming off a loss, and he takes it on short notice. I think that, this was overseas fight that he had, and he goes out there, and Gastelum completely obliterates Michael Bisping, knocking him out in the first round. Very, very, brutally knocking him out. But it was an impressive knockout, but I can't give it too much of Bisping. He was, tail end of his career, coming off a tough loss. So there was a lot to be said about that, where, you can't really give Gastelum too much credit. But again, on the other side of that, it still shows that he's got that power and he's got that speed. And then in his last fight, he fought Jacare also, as well as Whittaker did. And in that fight there, you know what? This was a fight in Brazil against another tough stylistic matchup for Gastelum. And these takedown guys that he consistently was going up against are very tough for him. I mean, Gastelum is tough, but when he has to worry about, he's a stand-up fighter. I mean, there's no doubt that Gastelum has wrestling ability. He's got wrestling background in him, but he likes to stand in and he likes to brawl. But he's not able to do that in some of these fights. And that Jacare fight, very, very close fight. He wins the decision there in Brazil, which is, you think Brazil, you think he's not going to be getting a very close fight. But I definitely look at those 3 fights as a couple takeaways in there. Now, you take a look at his stats. Now, he is the 5th highest when it comes to highest striking rate. He's the 5th highest, 3.73 per minute. And then you have, I think, the biggest stat, which is one of the most interesting stats, is his knockdown to punch ratio, which is out of this world. His ratio is 9-to-1. So basically, every 9 power punches, he drops the guy 1 time. I mean, that is extremely impressive. I mean, that is something that he's looking to trade, and he's got that power. Now, the big part with him, and the big part that I think that you start to really look at Gastelum, is the fact of his speed and his power. Now, when you're looking at his speed and his power, he's the kind of guy that likes to draw in his opponent. He likes to bring him in, have his opponent fire first so he can counter. He can throw those big shots. And he's very good at moving around the cage. He's very good at shifting, looking for the angles. And that's something here that I think he could use against Whittaker. Now, again, Whittaker is a very smart fighter. Both of these guys are extremely smart. And it's not the fact that, I think it's going to go to the ground, or I think it's going to go. I think this is going to be a completely stand-up fight. I think that if Gastelum needs it, it's there. But obviously it shows that that's probably not the way that he should go, because if he's able to, if Whittaker's able to stop Romero with his takedowns, there is no doubt that he's going to be able to stop Gastelum. If there's the opportunity presents itself, it would be a nice opening for him. But I think that Gastelum sticks to his strengths, and if he stands and he's quicker and he's got great cage movement, I think that the speed is going to be a big part of this, and especially if he's pushing forward. Now, Gastelum likes to push forward a little bit as well. When he's using those angles, he pushes forward a little bit, and he sticks to his strengths of the strong 1-2 combination. And he has done that consistently, and his hands are, I think, really underrated when it comes to how fast and his speed that he has with his hands. So I think that that's a spot that you can look at and you can hang your hat on if you're going to be betting Gastelum. Now, you take a look at the price tag after all of that. You got Gastelum at plus 203. You got Whittaker at minus 230. Now, for me, this is more of a value play. I mean, I can't let, when I'm first looking at this, I lean slightly to Whittaker. But when you look at the price, and sometimes it's at that point where you look at a price tag, you look at a price tag of minus 230, this to me is not even close to where, okay, maybe not that far, but it's way over where it should be. I mean, when I always like to, when these fights are announced or fights are getting close, before I look at the line or before the line comes out, I like to see it where I think these fights should be, or where I think these lines should be. And I honestly thought, yes, Whittaker should be the favorite. Whittaker, minus 145, minus 150. You've got, Gastelum, I'm thinking, plus 115, somewhere in that range. Keep it tight. I think it's going to be a tight fight. And this fight, to me here, feels very much like when I was handicapping Cejudo versus Dillashaw, because you take a look at that fight, and you got Cejudo, who was a plus 175. You've got Dillashaw, who was roughly a minus 200. So Cejudo at plus 175 to me in a fight that I absolutely believed was a down-the-middle kind of fight. I said, listen, this fight is a lot closer than these lines are even saying, and you got a guy coming down in weight, and there was a lot of movement going on there. So I like Cejudo just simply on the fact that there's a ton of value on a wrestler, Olympic wrestler, who just beat one of the best ever in Demetrius Johnson. This feels that way to me. Now, I like getting 2-to-1 odds on Gastelum here. I just think this fight is going to be close. I don't think there is no way that it's going to be. If I'm betting, if I'm laying, the juice on a minus 250, minus 260, minus 280, I am so confident when I'm laying those that I'm laying extra money. I feel good about it. I like the spot. Here, I don't feel that way. I think, yes, there is a lean towards Whittaker, but I think it's a fantastic price tag on Gastelum. I like Gastelum at plus 203 here. He will be my free play. And again, out of all of my plays that I do, and when I have my allotted money per event, I put about 75% of that on my best bet play, and then I take the other 25% roughly I put it on my free play, I put it on, a couple value plays, a parlay or two, and then that's really where I look. So if I hit my best bet play, which is for purchase on Wagertalk right now, link down below, that's, as long as I hit my best bet play, I'm making money. And if these other plays start hitting, I'm really doubling up my money. And if you start hitting these parlays, tripling up my money. Like last week, I hit everything, so I hit straight bets, parlays. That's really how I believe I'm able to maximize. I don't go out there and bet 8 fights. Don't really think that there's much value in that. Also, there's many ways to bet, so some people do that and some people are successful. But to me, I like to do 3 bets, 4 bets at the absolute max, and that is it. So for me here, I'm taking Kelvin Gastelum as a great value play at plus 203. That'll be the free play. The other one I want to really talk about is very quickly go over is the co-main event, which is Anderson Silva versus Israel Adesanya. This fight here, I mean, you've got Adesanya at a minus 650. You've got Anderson Silva, who's plus 475, 450, somewhere around there, depending where you're shopping it. And for me, I mean, boy, the times have changed. I mean, for Anderson Silva to be a plus 475 is just unbelievable. You've got Israel Adesanya, who is really the next breed of a fighter. He's 15-0. He looks great. But this is actually, I think, another fight where it's closer. I think it's a lot closer. If you're looking at this fight as a possible kickboxing match, I don't mind the price tag on Silva. Now, obviously, you have to pick winners. That's what we're here. We've done a great job picking winners here. Again, we were 69% best bet winner last year, and with all best bets on fighters under minus 190. So always looking to give solid picks and not giving you picks that are minus 500, minus 600 fighters. But here, to me, it's a stay away bet. I'm actually not betting this fight, but I think the price on Silva is not bad. Yes, does Israel have a chance to just go out there and obliterate him? Of course. But the one thing that I'm very interested to see is if Anderson plays the fight a little differently. There is part of me that thinks he may pull guard or may just look to take him down. Now, can he? I don't know. But I think he's going to be a little bit different in this fight. Again, it's a stay away for me. Silva is 2-4 out of his last 6. You know, he's lost to some top-level guys, broke his leg, been out, PEDs. All these crazy things have been going on in his life, which do not make me feel good about Silva. But when you look at him at near plus 500, it's interesting, but it's one that I'm going to be staying away from. Would love to hear what you guys think about this fight. Let me know down below in the comments section. The other one I want to talk about, which is another interesting fight, is Honey Yaya versus Ricky Simone. Now, this fight here, you got Yaya, who's plus 105. You've got Simone, who's minus 120. Simone is 10-1 in his mixed martial arts career. You've got, he's 2-0 in the UFC. To me, when you take a look at this, people are really overlooking Yaya here. People are really overlooking him. He's 7-1 out of his last 8. And out of those, he had 5 submission victories. He has great. He is like a Damian Maia. He's a specialist when it comes to the ground game, and when he gets you down there, he is vicious. When he gets you down there, he took down 12 of his last 14 opponents. I just think that if he gets Simone to the ground, who has shown he is susceptible to being taken down, and he's been taken down by lesser opponents, to me, I'm going to be betting Yaya here. I think that the value's there. I think that he's very underlooked. When you take a look at him, he's not much to look at, to be honest with you. He looks just, you know, kind of like a middle-aged man that's unathletic, but he is sensational when it comes to the ground game. I think he's going to be able to get Simone to the ground. I think it's going to be the finish. I think even betting submission victory for Yaya to get maybe a little bit better odds is not even a bad play either. But I like Yaya here in this spot. I think he gets the job done. Yes, his cardio has not looked great in the 3rd round, but he always does enough in those first 2 to get at least himself in a position where he can get the decision victory. So for me, I'm taking Yaya. Also, it's another quick free play there that I will be playing, putting some money on. So there you have it. That is it. Tried to run through these a little bit quicker, not trying to make these videos too long and make these shows too long. So there you have it. Again, subscribe, like this video. Always helps out with the content building up here in the community. So that is it. And again, the free play we're doing is Kelvin Gastelum at plus 203. Some great value there. And we're going to also do Yaya at plus 105. So we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys are betting. Let me know what you guys are doing. And let me know what you think about the channel name. Listen, I know it's a little bit generic, but hey, I'm trying to get and build up this channel even more. We had some great growth. We've been at this for less than a year. We've got over 1,200 subscribers. Now on these prediction videos, we're getting anywhere from 500, 700 views. So going from, 8 months ago, 9 months ago to this, we can't be more pleased. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time on the UFC Betting Show.